The Quincy Park Board once again voted to table the possibility of funding new developments. WGEM's Raja Maples was there tonight and spoke with members of the Park Board about the reasons behind the decision tonight. Raja?
The Quincy Riverfront Development Corporation is asking for about $350,000 from three governing bodies. They include the Quincy Park Board, City Council, and the Adams County Board. Now, the money would be used to bury these power lines along the riverfront. The hope is to redevelop Quincy's riverfront to attract visitors to generate economic growth. The Park Board voted to table the request both last month and at tonight's meeting. Commissioners cited a need to be fiscally conservative and responsible at a time when future finances are not clear.
We have a number of factors that are affecting our upcoming budgets. One of those being the reduction in the personal property placement tax. Those are funds that we received from the Illinois Department of Revenue. We received notification not too long ago that those funds that we're going to be receiving are going to be adjusted. We're going to be in a position where we have to pay some of that funding back. So that's going to directly affect the amount of on-hand capital that we have for any projects upcoming. So anything that's outside of the current budget, we're going to be in trouble. We're not fiscally responsible.
Now, commissioners tabled the riverfront funding request indefinitely. The board also approved two general obligation bonds. One would be for capital improvements and the other is to irrigate Westview Golf Course.
All right, thanks, Raja. And by the way, work for the golf course is expected to begin in early spring.